ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು.
ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್
सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्ते नमः। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। हरिः ओम्। हरि ओम। सर्वर्गो नमस्कार। Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati, our Gurudeva, and the entire Samasta Guru Parampara, on behalf of all of us Guru Bandhus, today this next discourse on Viveka Chudamani will commence with Mangalacharana Shlokas called Guru Vandana. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananamalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrutam Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmiham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Harihi Om. Last time, Acharya Bhagavat Pada's Viveka Chudamani, up to 7 shlokas were covered. Again, I request before we start, one or two small things are there. People sometimes they join newly, so that I have to make certain things repeatedly clear. The discourse will be in English and also in Kannada language. It goes together. So those who don't understand Kannada, you please don't bother. Those who don't understand English, you also please don't bother. Everything will be covered by grace of the Guru. That is one thing. Second, small, my humble request is, last time, after the end of the discourse, when a Ramanama Sankirtana, Bhajan, which is very dearer to our Gurudev, it was started here. There was a chorus bhajan from our Guru Bandhu side also. There was a time lapse of 5 to 10 seconds, so that there was a sort of a disharmony in receiving the chorus from my side. So I request all of you to be in the unmute forum only. You be in the mute forum only, your laptop or whatever it is, till the bhajan is over. Then the time kept for question answers, that is open for all. Then you can unmute at that time. This is my personal humble request. And as usual, till the entire discourse is over and the bhajan is over, please mute your individual sets. Next point was a lot of questions will come here and there, they by phone and also by messages. It's always welcome. Last time, one very important question came. That is a beautiful question. I have to answer that question. The question was, ಹೋದ ಸಲ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಬಹಳ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅಂತ ಬಂತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರ ನಾವು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ, ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂತ ಉತ್ತರ. So the question was, in the last 3-4 shlokas, Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada repeatedly mentions the importance of human birth. Being born as a human being, how difficult, rare opportunity God has given. So don't waste this birth. That he was hammering repeatedly. All Mahatmans have said the same thing. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮಹಾತ್ಮರು ಇದೇ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಭಗವತ್ಪಾದ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಏನು, ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಜನ್ಮಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಕ್ರಿಮಿಕೀಟ ಜನ್ಮಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಜನ್ಮ ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಪ್ಪ, ಸಿಗೋದು ಬಹಳ ದುರ್ಲಭ. ಇದನ್ನು ಸದುಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ವಾಸ್, now why all Mahatmans, all enlightened masters, all acharyas, all great Santa Purushas, Mahatmans, they are stressing on this point. What is that special about human birth? Why it is so important? See, that was the question. ಈ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಜನ್ಮದ ಅಂಥ ವಿಶೇಷತೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮಹಾತ್ಮರು, ಮನುಷ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಹುಟ್ಟೋದೇ ಕಷ್ಟಪ್ಪ, ಹುಟ್ಬಿಡಿದಿರಿ, ಸದುಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. So the answer is there. All Mahatmans have watched for that. It is already there in Upanishads. It is there in Bhagavad Gita. It is there in our Vedanta. What is that? Human birth is important because only our Puranas, our Vedantic scriptures vehemently, clearly, they have declared only in the human birth you are entitled for emancipation, enlightenment, moksha, janmarahitya sthiti. If you are born as an animal, insect, whatever it is, in whatever form, living organism, or even if you are a demigod or a devata in a devaloka, Indra the devatas, even if you are a yaksha in yakshaloka, even if you are a kinnara in a kinnara loka, or pitru, our ancestors in pitraloka, or gandharvas in gandharvaloka, in whatever way they are there, in those realms and lokas, none of them will get enlightenment or moksha till they come back to the earth, this Martyaloka, and be born as a human being only. It is very clear. Even devatas will not be enlightened in the capacity as a devata. The devata in Indraloka should come back as a human being in some form at some time, born here, and then only is eligible for moksha. That is the reason why this point is very clear. It is a human birth. Human birth alone will take us to emancipation by the grace of our Guru and by intense sadhana and our belief and conviction and bhakti. Believing that there is only one Supreme Almighty, one God, and the same God is manifesting everywhere. The same God is in the Guru form, the same God in the Sadguru form, and the same God is in our heart also. As repeatedly our Gurudev used to use a short phrases, Ishvara Sarvabhutana Vruddeshe Tishtati Arjuna. Very, very beautiful phrase our Gurudev was very fond of. All Mahatmans vote for that. God is residing in our heart only. In fact, as we go later into the other shlokas, these things are made very clear. This is the point to be why human birth is important. Now, we go to the 8th shloka onwards. ಈಗ 8ನೇ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಿಂದ ಈಗ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರೋ ಕೆಲವು ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಈ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಮೋಕ್ಷೇಚ್ಛೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಆ ಪರಮ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಭಗವತ್ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಹೊಂದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, ಆ ಸಾಧನಗಳು ಯಾವುದು ಅದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. In the next 2-3 shlokas, Acharya is now talking about how the facilities are there. What are those facilities by which we are worthy of receiving this Brahmajnana or Atmajnana, or to become a real mumukshu, to do this Atma Vichara. So what are those implements? What are those sadhanas that he explains now? Ato vimuktai prayateta vidwan sanyasta bahyartha sukhaspruhassan santam mahantam samupetya deshikam tenopadishthartha samahitatma. Shloka. Ato vimuktai prayateta vidwan sanyasta bahyartha sukhaspruhassan santam mahantam samupetya deshikam tenopadishtartha samahitatma. Acharya is making very clear. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ರು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಂತಂ ಮಹಾಂತಂ ದೇಶಿಕಂ ಸಮುಪೇತ್ಯ ವಿಮುಕ್ತೈ ಪ್ರಯತೇತ. Acharya is giving injunction here. First I'll tell in Kannada and then come back to English. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಭಾವಾರ್ಥ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸರಿಯಾದ ಸಂತರು, ಮಹಾಂತರು, ಮಹಾತ್ಮರು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಆದಂತಹ ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮ ಸದ್ಗುರು, ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಗುರುವಿನ ಹತ್ರ ಈ ಮೋಕ್ಷದ ಇಚ್ಛೆಯನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಹೊರಗಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಸುಖ ಸಾಧನಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಲಿಯಾಗದೆ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ತೋರಿಸದೆ, ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಭಗವಂತನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಸೇರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಮಹಾತ್ಮರ ಬಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಕ್ವಿಸಿಟ್. Acharya says a wise man, vidwan means wise man here. That means mumukshu, the one who desires to know about himself, one who really desires to know about his own self. That is vidwan here, mumukshu. So a mumukshu should go near a great realized soul, a mahatman, a santa purusha, acharya. He should go near santam mahantam deshikam. He should go near such a personality, such a realized master. Then tenopadishthartha samahitatma. Whatever upadesha, adesha he has given, whatever directions he has given, that has to be internalized by this mumukshu. Then such a mumukshu, sanyasya bahyartha sukhaspruhasan. Actually, he is to give up the worldly pleasures, not bothered about your worldly life too much in life. Whatever is done in a householder life, let it be for the sake of family. That's okay. But not too much involved in the worldly pleasures. Sanyasya bahyartha sukhaspruhasan. He should go to such a Mahatman with a desire, burning desire to know about himself. And he should sincerely try. So that is the important step Acharya is talking here. Such an important step. Why? Because you cannot search yourself. You cannot know about yourself by yourself. Because we are completely clouded. We are totally disconnected. So if I have to search God by myself, there is no guarantee God is available to us. ನಾವು ನಾವಾಗೇ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡೋದಾದರೆ, ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳಿವೆಯಲ್ಲ, ವೇದಾಂತದ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡುವ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನ ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಆತನ ಉಪಾಸನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಆತನ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಸಾಲೋದಿಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಒಳ್ಳೇದೇ. ಆದರೆ ಗುರುವಿನ ಸಾಂಗತ್ಯ ಸಿಗೋ ತನಕ ನಮ್ಮ ದಾರಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯಾಣ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದುವರಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಅದೇ. ನೀವು ಸ್ವಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಸಾಲೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸದ್ಗುರು ನಿಮಗೆ ದಾರಿ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಸುಲಭ, ಬಹಳ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಹಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. If you try yourself, it may not be possible to reach God. It may not be possible to understand who am I. It may not be possible to know about Janmarahitya Sthiti. Only the words we are hearing, moksha, moksha, mukti, they remain only words. Because we don't get the self-experience. We don't get the personal experience by reading the book. Repeatedly, all Mahatmans have said this. Book reading is okay. Reading Vedanta is very, very good. Reading Bhagavad Gita, still very good. Everything is fine. But by reading alone, the mind deludes itself that it knows everything. That is a problem. That again, our Gurudev used to say, all Mahatmas have said, only by book knowledge, nobody becomes realized. Only by constant sadhana under the guidance of a guru, it is possible by the grace of the guru in the final stage. But initial efforts we have to put, initial purusha prayatna we have to do. That is what is called sadhana. That is spiritual sadhana. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಗುರು ಮೂಲಕ ಶುರು ಆದರೆ ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಫಲ ಸಿಗಬಹುದು. It may happen today, it may happen after 10 years, it may happen after 20 years. It may happen at the end of this life, or it may happen in the next birth. Let us not bother on that. Our conviction, our belief, Shraddha should be 100%. Then only things will happen. That's what Acharya is hinting here. You have to go to a guru, he says. Why? Because you remember, even Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has mentioned this point very, very clearly. Talk in Kannada first and come back to English. ಗುರು ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಗುರು ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣನೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಜುನನಿಗೆ. ಕೃಷ್ಣನೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ತದ್ವಿಧಿ ಪ್ರಣಿಪಾತೇನ ಪರಿಪ್ರಶ್ನೇನ ಸೇವಯ ಉಪದೇಕ್ಷಂತಿ ತೇ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಜ್ಞಾನಿನ ತತ್ವದರ್ಶಿನ. ತತ್ವದರ್ಶಿಗಳಾದಂತಹ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಆ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜುನ ನಿನಗೆ ಉಪದೇಶ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ವಿನೀತ ಭಾವದಿಂದ, ವಿನಯದಿಂದ, ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ, ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ತದ್ವಿಧಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳಪ್ಪ, ಪ್ರಣಿಪಾತೇನ ಪರಿಪ್ರಶ್ನೇನ ಸೇವಯ. ನೀನು ಗುರುವಿನ ಬಳಿ ಸಾರಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಮಾತುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಇಟ್ಟು ಗುರು ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ನಿನ್ನ ಮೂಲ ಸಂಶಯ, ವೇದಾಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಸಂಶಯಗಳನ್ನ ಸಮಯ ನೋಡಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಅವರಿಂದ ಉಪದೇಶವನ್ನ ಪಡೆದು ಉತ್ತರವನ್ನ ಪಡೆದು ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ನೀನು ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಗುರು ಪ್ರಸನ್ನನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಆಗ ಆತ ನಿನಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಉಪದೇಶ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನಪ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜುನ. ಲಾರ್ಡ್ ಸೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತಾ to Arjuna, ತದ್ವಿಧಿ ಪ್ರಣಿಪಾತೇನ ಪರಿಪ್ರಶ್ನೇನ ಸೇವಯ ಉಪದೇಕ್ಷಂತಿ ತೇ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಜ್ಞಾನಿನ ತತ್ವದರ್ಶಿನ. A great Mahatman, a Brahmajnani, a Samyajnani, a Tattvadarshi, a Samadarshi, all these words mean the same thing. He realized master. He himself is a Brahmavid. Such a Brahmajnani with compassion and karuna Look, Arjuna, he will impart you the knowledge, the jnana of the self. He will take you to the core of your original swarupa, what you are. He will impart that knowledge of Brahmajnana to you, Arjuna, when you go with all humility, you prostrate, you serve with Shraddha and conviction, such a Mahatman. Then what happens? He will bestow his grace to you. So that is the point. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is there. Very clear. Similarly, in Mundaka Upanishad, there is a famous mantra. There is a famous mantra. Tad vijnanartham sa guruvem avigachet gurumeva abhigachet. Tad vijnanartham saha gurumeva abhigachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtham. See, this is a powerful Anuvakar Shruti mantra in Mundaka Upanishad. Same thing there. What Bhagavad Gita, inside the Bhagavad Gita, Lord tells to Arjuna, it is already there in Mundaka Upanishad. Tad vijnanartham saha gurumeva abhigachet. That means to know the reality, to know our own self, to understand our real nature, to be aware of myself, what we call as mukti or moksha, these words, to be aware of that, we have to go to a guru. What sort of a guru? Upanishad says, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. That guru must be a realized Mahatman. He should possess the direct knowledge by direct experience through his guru. This guru should have possessed that knowledge from his own guru. So the entire Guru Parampara is there, and he has been totally highly knowledgeable, a Brahmajnani, such a guru, Brahmanishtam Shrotriyam, who has a knowledge of all the Vedantic texts and scriptures, and especially Upanishads, Shruti. He can impart such a knowledge. So these things are so important. So Acharya is mentioning the same point again here in his own words. What is there in Upanishad, what is there in Bhagavad Gita, same thing in this one single shloka he has mentioned. ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ನಮ್ಮ ಉಪದೇಶ ಸಾರ ಏನಿದೆ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಯ್ತು. ಮುಂಡಕ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದದ್ದೇ, ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇದೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸುವಿಜ್ಞಾನಾರ್ಥಂ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಪಡೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸುವಿಜ್ಞಾನಾರ್ಥಂ ಸಹ, ಅಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಗುರುಮೇವ ಅಭಿಗಚ್ಚೇತ್, ಕೇವಲ ಗುರುವಿನ ಹತ್ರ ಬಳಿ ಸಾರಬೇಕು. ಸ್ವಂತ ಗುರು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಮಿತ್ಪಾಣಿಹಿ, ತನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಸಿದ್ಧ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಯಜ್ಞಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕುವಂತಹ ಒಣಗಿದ ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸಮಿತ್ಪಾಣಿಹಿ, he should carry the firewood for the sacrifice purpose. That is the outer meaning. That means he should be ready to sacrifice himself at the feet of the Guru, inner meaning. Samitpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishta. So, when you approach such a Mahatman Guru, he out of compassion, out of love, treating you as his own son, he may impart that knowledge at the appropriate time, not at the time you want. Gurudeva, I have come here, already 1 month over, nothing has happened. Please grant me Brahmajnana. This won't work. Gurudeva, I'm a multi-billionaire. I can offer you 10 crores of rupees or 10 crores of dollars. Give me Brahmajnana in 1 week. I have no time. It cannot happen. Your individual money or status, nothing will happen. Samit Panihi, that word is there in Shruti, in Upanishad. Samit Panihi means you should approach with all humility. Your ego should be big zero. If you think that you have a status in your life, you are so and so with a name and fame, born to so and so, let me go to the Guru. I'm a billionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a big shot, I'm a politician, I'm a celebrity. With such a feeling, if you go to a Guru, he will not even look down upon you. If you take hundreds of births, you have to develop first humility. Vidya dadati vinayam, another Shruti Vachana. Without vinaya, without humility, how can you remove your ego from yourself? As long as ego is persisting, ahankara iro tanaka brahmajnanavilla. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗುರುಗಳ ಹತ್ರ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ವಿನೀತರಾಗಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಏನೂ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವನೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಬುಕ್ಕು ಓದಿ ಬರೋ ಭಾವನೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಂತ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧನೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಡೇ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಅಗೇನ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್. ಉದ್ಧರೇದಾತ್ಮನಾತ್ಮಾನಂ ಮಗ್ನಂ ಸಂಸಾರವಾರಿಧೌ ಯೋಗಾರೂಢತ್ವಮಾಸಾದ್ಯ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ದರ್ಶನ ನಿಷ್ಠಯ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ. ಉದ್ಧರೇದಾತ್ಮನಾತ್ಮಾನಂ, ಉದ್ಧರೇತ್ ಆತ್ಮನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ, ಮಗ್ನಂ ಸಂಸಾರವಾರಿಧೌ ಯೋಗಾರೂಢತ್ವಂ ಆಸಾದ್ಯ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ದರ್ಶನ ನಿಷ್ಠಯ. ಯೋಗಾರೂಢತ್ವಂ ಆಸಾದ್ಯ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ದರ್ಶನ ನಿಷ್ಠಯ. Acharya is making again clear. Here the point comes. Uddharet atmana atmanam. Adi Shankaracharya, Shankara Bhagavatpada is speaking these phrases, beautiful words in the shloka. Somewhere we have heard the same words, isn't it? I will again talk in Kannada for 2 minutes or 1 minute, come back to English. ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ? ಉದ್ಧರೇದ್ ಆತ್ಮನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಮಗ್ನಂ ಸಂಸಾರವಾರಿಧೌ. ಸಂಸಾರವಾರಿಧೌ ಮಗ್ನಂ ಆತ್ಮನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಉದ್ಧರೇತ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಯೋಗಾರೂಢತ್ವಂ ಆಸಾದ್ಯ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ದರ್ಶನ ನಿಷ್ಠಯ. ಉದ್ಧರೇದ್ ಆತ್ಮನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಕೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ, ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಅವ್ರ ಬಾಯಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಕೈನಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕ, ಈ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಚರಣನೇ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಉದ್ಧರೇದಾತ್ಮನಾತ್ಮಾನಂ ನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಅವಸಾದಯೇತ್ ಆತ್ಮೈವ ಹಿ ಆತ್ಮನೋ ಬಂಧು ಆತ್ಮೈವ ರಿಪುರಾತ್ಮನಃ. ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತಾ ಲಾರ್ಡ್ ಸೇಸ್. He is giving very clear points for your doubts here. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜುನ, ನೀನು ಸ್ವತಃ ನಿನ್ನ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನದಿಂದ, ಛಲದಿಂದ ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿ ನಿಂತುಕೊಂಡು ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮವನ್ನು ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮದಿಂದಲೇ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದಲೇ ಗೆಲ್ಲಬೇಕು. ನೀನು ಸ್ವಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಗ್ಗಬಾರದು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನನಗೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕುಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಅವಸಾದಯೇತ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜುನ, ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ ಆತ್ಮ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮವೇ ನಿನಗೆ ಬಂಧು, ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮವೇ ನಿನಗೆ ಶತ್ರು. ಆತ್ಮೈವ ಹಿ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ಯ ಬಂಧು ಆತ್ಮೈವ ರಿಪುರಾತ್ಮನ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತ ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ನೋಡಿ, ಬಹಳ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಇದೆ. ಏನು? ನಮ್ಮ ಪುರುಷ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಾರಬ್ಧ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಎರಡೂ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಭಗವಂತನ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕೈ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ? ಅಲ್ಲ, ಭಗವಂತನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದು? ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮವನ್ನ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ, ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದಲೇ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಸ್ವಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಬೇಕು. ನೀನು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಬರೀ ಮಂತ್ರ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾವಿನಕಾಯಿ ಉದುರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ನೀನು ಕಷ್ಟಪಡಲೇಬೇಕು, ಮನಸ್ಸು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಳುಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಿನ್ನ ಶತ್ರುವು ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಮಿತ್ರನೂ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಛಲದಿಂದ ಹೋದಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕಳ್ಳಾಟ ಆಡಿ ನಿನ್ನನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ದೂಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಇದು ಬೇಡ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಯಾಕೆ? ನಾವು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಇದ್ಬಿಡೋಣ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಮನಸ್ಸು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಶತ್ರು ಅಂತ ಲೆಕ್ಕ. ಭಗವಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಭಗವಂತ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ ಅವಾಗವಾಗ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಬಲವಾಗಿ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಳ್ಳೆತನ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಿತ್ರ. ಅದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸೇ ಇರೋದು, ಒಂದೇ ಮನಸ್ಸು. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಹೀಗೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೊಯ್ದಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ, ಪುರುಷ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ. ಸಿ, ಇನ್ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತಾ ಲಾರ್ಡ್ is so clear. He is giving very clear cut picture here. See, there is definitely your self effort is required initially. That is what is called sadhana, spiritual sadhana. Without your self effort, determined effort, even God cannot help you. All Mahatmas have said the same thing in different languages. If you take one step towards God, God will turn towards you and take 10 steps. If I don't turn towards God means if I don't do any sadhana at all, okay, let me lead my life, let me enjoy. That is Charvaka Siddhanta. There is only one life, you see. Who knows after death what happens? Who knows after death where I will go? All bookish bunkum information. Nobody has come back after death to say that I had gone to heaven, I had gone to hell. Nobody has come back. So why to bother? This is one precious life. This is our precious life, only one life. So let us make best use of our life. Let us enjoy. Let us have the pleasure. Let us lead a wonderful life, adventurous life, make more and more money. So the money will bring happiness. See, these are all our Charvaka Siddhanta. So Lord says, without efforts, now you cannot reach me. So you have to uplift yourself with the help of your own mind, with your own efforts. That is what Acharya also is telling here. Uddharedatmanatmanam magnam samsara varidhau yoga rudhatvam asadhya samyak darshana nishtaya. So yoga rudhatvam asadhya. What is that yoga rudhatva? Acharya is giving explanation for that later at some time. But here let us know what is that yoga rudhatva. In simple, yoga rudhatva means you develop detachment towards your sensory pleasures in life as much as possible. Develop a sort of a detachment. You don't concentrate too much on the worldly pleasures and worldly sensuous life. As much as possible, give up. Do the basic duty as a householder, fine. Do your duty sincerely, but slowly give up the attachments. Then concentrate your mind on reaching God. See, two things. Slowly, it may not happen in one day. Our Gurudev was talking every time. It will not happen in one day because you have determination. The determination and then belief that it will happen one day. That's what we call positive thinking, you know. So with determination, let me slowly get detached from worldly senses or sensory pleasures, sensuous pleasures, the lust, the greed more and more and money, more and more and more money. So that's what is called. And then turn your vision towards God. Most of the time, let at least you think of God. Okay, it is not possible. Read some Vedantic scriptures which are giving you that information. Do some worship or upasana. Follow what the Guru says. Do the japa. Do the meditation. So that is what turning towards God. Slowly, it may not happen in one day. Again, by Guru's grace or God's grace, it will happen one day. 100%. 100%. Please, with folded hands, I am requesting you, these talks, sometimes I'll be talking by sheer personal experience. It is again not by book knowledge, not by book knowledge, sheer personal experience by the grace of our Gurudeva. That's all. So, Acharya says here, in order to get yourself released from this bondage of samsara, you have belief, do your personal efforts. Acharya says elsewhere, please remember, in the introduction to his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, what an important message Bhagavad Pada has conveyed to the whole world 1200 years back. In the introduction to his Bhashya on Bhagavad Gita, commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Acharya says in the introduction, which runs to more than so many pages, he says, one simple definition first he gives. What is samsara? See, I have to speak in Kannada again for some benefit of some. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯ ಉಪೋದ್ಘಾತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಭಾಷ್ಯ ಏನಿದೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಗುರುಗಳೇ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಉತ್ತರ. ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶೋಕ ಮತ್ತು ಮೋಹ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಉತ್ತರ. ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಶೋಕ ಮತ್ತು ಮೋಹ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲೇಶ ಇದೆ, ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೇಶ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಸ್ಮಿತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಗ ಇದೆ, ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ ಇದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದು ಶೋಕ ಮತ್ತು ಮೋಹ ಮತ್ತೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಕ್ಲೇಶ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಯೋವರೆಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ತೊಂದರೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂಕಷ್ಟಗಳು, ಯಾತನೆಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲೇಶವೇ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಫುಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್. ಯುವರ್ ಗುಡ್ ಡೇಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಫ್ಯೂ ಇನ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಯುವರ್ ಜಾಯಸ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಫ್ಯೂ ಇನ್ ಲೈಫ್. ನಮಗೆ ಸಂತೋಷದ ಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ದುಃಖದ ಕ್ಷಣಗಳೇ, ಅದೇ ಕ್ಲೇಶ. ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ. ನಾವ್ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥವನು ಇಂಥವಳು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಗೊತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ. ನಿಜವಾದ ನಾನು ಯಾರೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ, ಮೂಲ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಸ್ಮಿತಾ. ಅಸ್ಮಿತಾ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥವನು, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥವಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಹಂಕಾರ. ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ದೇಹ ಅಂತ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗಿಂದ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ದೇಹಾತ್ಮ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಅಸ್ಮಿತ. ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಇಂಥವನು ಇಂಥವಳು, ಅಹಂಕಾರ. ರಾಗ. ರಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಮೋಹ, ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ನಾನು ಸಂಬಂಧ, ನಾನು ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಅಂಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಗಂಡ, ಹೆಂಡತಿ, ತಂದೆ, ತಾಯಿ, ಚಿಕ್ಕಪ್ಪ, ಸಹೋದರ, ಸಹೋದರಿ, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು, ಅಂಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ, ಬಿಡ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಇವ್ರು ನನ್ನವರು ನನ್ನವರು ನನ್ನವರು, ಅದು ರಾಗ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು, ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ. ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ತಾಪತ್ರಯಗಳು ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ. ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ ಅಂತ? ಇದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಕೇಳೇ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಬರೋದು ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ, ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ. ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾವಿನ ಹೆದರಿಕೆ, ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ಮರಣ ಭಯ, ಮರಣ ಭಯ ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ. ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲೇ ನೋಡಿ, ಸ್ವತಃ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅನುಭವ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಾಯೋ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಹೆದರಿಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ. ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳನ್ನ, ತೀವ್ರ ಸಾಧನೆಯಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷುಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರತುಪಡಿಸಿ ಈ ಮರಣ ಭಯ ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವನು ಚಕ್ರಾಧಿಪತಿ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಬಡವ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಬಲಿದ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಕರೋಡಪತಿ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಏನೇ ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಸಾವಿನ ಭಯ ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟದಾಗಿಂದ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಜನ್ಮಕ್ಕಲ್ಲ, ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಜನ್ಮದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಆ ಮರಣ ಭಯ, ನಾನು ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಅದು ಅಭಿನಿವೇಶ. So Acharya says in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, in a simple way he defines first what is samsara. Samsara means it is a combination of shoka and moha. Shoka means total misery and grief in life till you die. One way or the other. See, whether you are a moneyed person or an ordinary person, whether you are a raja or a rank, whether you are a beggar or a pauper or a multi-millionaire, grief, sorrows, that's always there. Suffering is always there in life throughout. So that is one point. That is klesha. Then what? After klesha he says avidya, nescience, ajnana. We have forgotten who we are. We don't know who we are. Crores of births, hence we have forgotten. Disconnected. That is avidya, part of samsara. Then he speaks about asmita. Samsara means asmita. Asmita means what? I am so and so. I am identifying with my body. Automatic. I am so and so. So the body is me. But from the birth to death, it is there, this feeling. I am so and so. That is what? Dehatma buddhi. Identifying with the body. I means body and mind. Body-mind complex. Nobody is beyond this. Everybody knows that. Only Guru has to point out. See, you are not the body, Baba. You are not the mind, you are not the buddhi. Only Guru has to tell you. Till he says, we will not be even knowing all these things. So it is always there. Asmita. Then raga, attachment. Show me one person who is not attached to anything in life. All are attached. Normal, worldly people, without exception, all are attached to something or the other. See, we are attached to our kids and kins, attached to our people, attached to my children, attached to my wife, attached to my husband, attached to my parents, my brothers, my sisters, my friends. Show me a person who is not attached. Normally. So this attachment is a part of samsara. It is there. You can't simply overlook that point at all. That is raga, attachment. Then finally he speaks about, in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, samsara means it has another very important, significant point, that is abhinivesha. That is the fear of death. Abhinivesha, fear of death. Sometimes I request you to note down some of these words with a paper and pen so that you will never forget. What are these words? What is asmita? In the discourse, that word came. Tomorrow you'll forget it. So what is this abhinivesha? See, beautiful Sanskrit words, how they are being used by Acharya. Fear of death is called abhinivesha. What is this fear of death? It is there from the birth, in our deep subconscious mind. You can't remove it at all. Any worldly person just cannot be away from this fear of death. All Mahatmans say these things. Except all the Mahatmans who are jnanis, or all the serious mumukshus or jijnasu who are at the verge of realization, who have understood or experienced padartha jnana, tattva jnana. They are out of this fear of death. All remaining people, all of us, we have this fear of death. It is not in this birth alone. For crores of previous births, we were born and we died. So that experience subconsciously carried as impression, vasana athva samskara in our deep psyche, chitta. It is there, very, very, very deep. No psychiatrist, no specialist in the modern science of human behavior or human psychology or human physiology, or a doctor can understand these points. They have a limited knowledge in the study of the brain, behavior, extrasensory perception, whatever you call, but limited knowledge. These are beyond that. The fear of death, nobody can remove normally. That happens by the grace of Guru. So these are the problems in samsara, Acharya says. That is why he says, Uddaret Atmana Atmanam Samsara Varidhau Magnam. See, you are already immersed deep in the samsara with all the problems. How to come out? You have to help yourself. You have to help yourself, then the Guru will show the way. If you don't want to help yourself, who will show the way? You think God will come and take you? Come, Baba, I will take you. If I am not interested, even God will not help. A common point. Even sometimes common people also know all these things. Not that they don't know. The only thing, they are not too much interested, too much involved in these things. That's all. So next he says, Acharya gives one injunction, one upadesha. Sanyasya sarva karmani bhava bondha vimuktaye yatyatam panditair dhirai atmabhyasa upasthitai. Sanyasya sarva karmani bhava bandha vimuktaye yatyatam panditair dhirai atmabhyasa upasthitai. Hence, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆತ್ಮವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಹೊಂದಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಆ ಇಚ್ಛೆಯಿಂದ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಉಳ್ಳವರು, ಆತ್ಮಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋರು, ವಿವೇಕಿಗಳು, ಧೀಮಂತರು ಆದಂತಹ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸುಗಳು ತಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ವ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನ ತ್ಯಜಿಸಿ ಸಂಸಾರದಿಂದ ಹೊರಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸರ್ವ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಸನ್ಯಸ್ಯ ಸರ್ವ ಕರ್ಮಾಣಿ ಭವಬಂಧ ವಿಮುಕ್ತಯೇ. ಸರ್ವ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಂದೇಹ ಬರಬಾರದು. ಏನು ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು, ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡೋದಾಗರೆ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ತನಕ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? ಈ ಕರ್ಮಕಾಂಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು ಯಾವುದೋ ಸ್ವರ್ಗದ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆಯಿಂದ ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಐಶ್ವರ್ಯ, ಸಂತತಿ, ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ನನ್ನ ಶತ್ರುಗಳು ನಿವಾರಣೆ ಆಗಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯಜ್ಞ, ಹೋಮ, ಹವನಗಳು, ವ್ರತಗಳು, ಸತ್ತ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವರ್ಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆ ಫಲ ಸಿಗಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾಮ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು, ಅಂಥ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ನೀವು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ತನಕ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸಗಳಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಪಾಡಿಗೆ, ಅದಲ್ಲ, ಅವು ನೈಮಿತ್ತಿಕ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು, ನಿತ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು. ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಉಳಿದ ವೇದೋಕ್ತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕರ್ಮಕಾಂಡದ ಕರ್ಮಗಳೇನಿದೆ 80 ಭಾಗ 90 ಭಾಗ ಅದು ಯಾವುದು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಆತ್ಮವಿಚಾರಕ್ಕೆ. ಯಜ್ಞ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಹೋಮ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಹವನ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ, ಅದೇ ಅದರಿಂದ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಬರುತ್ತಷ್ಟೇ. ಮೊದಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀವು ವಿವೇಕಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ರೆ, ಧೀಮಂತರಾಗಿದ್ರೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಛಲ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಂಸಾರದಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ನಾನು ಬರ್ತೇನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಛಲ ನೀವು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸ್ವಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಬೇಕು. ಅದನ್ನೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಎ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಬಾಂಡೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸಂಸಾರ, Acharya says, Sanyasya sarvakarmani bhavabandha vimuktaye yatyatam panditair dhiraihi atmabhyasa upasthitayi. Such people who are panditaha, dhiraha, atmabhyasa upasthitaha. Those people who are real jijnasus, real mumukshus, really they want to know about their own self. It is not the question of going to heaven. It is not the question of getting more money in this life. It is not the question of getting children in this birth. It is not that. It is to know who I am. Who am I? What is this purpose of my life? Why I am born? Do I really know who I am? I am the only this body or mind or what? Something else. So this real Jignasutva, anybody who has got this, who is thinking on Atma Vichara, Sanyasya Sarva Karmani Bhavabandha Vimukta, he should try to come out of the bondage of samsara by discarding all Vedokta karmas, Kamya karmas, Ishta karmas, which lead you to heaven later after death or give you all prosperity benefit in this birth. Avoid all those karmas. Avoid all those karmas. He is very clear. Have one pointed concentration or interest to know who I am really. So again, next Acharya says, Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastupalabdhaye vastu siddhi vicharena na kinchit karma kotibihi. Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastupalabdhaye vastu siddhir vicharena na kinchit karma kotibihi. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಚಿತ್ತಶುದ್ಧಿಗೆ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಶುದ್ಧಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಇರೋದೇ ಹೊರತು ಭಗವಂತನ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಯಾವ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು? ವೇದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯಜ್ಞ, ಹೋಮ, ಹವನಾದಿ ಏನು ಈ ಕರ್ಮಗಳಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು? ಚಿತ್ತಶುದ್ಧಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಮನಸ್ಸು ಶುದ್ಧವಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಸತ್ವಗುಣ ತುಂಬತ್ತೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ, ಪುಣ್ಯ ಸಂಚಯನ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಕೈವಲ್ಯ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಚಿತ್ತಸ ಶುದ್ಧೆಯೇ ಕರ್ಮ ನತು ವಸ್ತೂಪಲಬ್ಧೆ. ಚಿತ್ತ ಶುದ್ಧಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ವಸ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ, ಅದು ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ವಸ್ತು ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ವಿಚಾರೇಣ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ ಕರ್ಮ ಕೋಟಿಭಿ. ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಲಕ್ಷಗಟ್ಲೆ, ಕೋಟಿಗಟ್ಲೆ ನೀವು ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನ, ವೇದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ನೀವು ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ 3 ಯಜ್ಞ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ವ್ರತಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಯಾಗವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ದೇವರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ತೀರ್ಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ. ಯಾವ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ? ಕಾಮ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು, ಆಸೆಯಿಂದ. ನಾವು ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಫಲಾಪೇಕ್ಷೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿದ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಪುಣ್ಯ ಸಂಚಯನ, ಅದು ಚಿತ್ತ ಶುದ್ಧ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅದರಿಂದ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ. ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೂ ಈ ಕರ್ಮಗಳಿಗೂ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಹಳ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಚಿತ್ತಸ್ಯ ಶುದ್ಧಯೇ ಕರ್ಮ ನತು ವಸ್ತೂಪಲಬ್ಧಯೇ ವಸ್ತು ಸಿದ್ಧಿರ್ ವಿಚಾರೇಣ ನ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ ಕರ್ಮ ಕೋಟಿಭಿಃ. Acharya is making again clear here in this shloka. With all your crores and crores of kamya karmas, as injunctions given in the Vedas, again, what he means here, kamya karma andre, the rituals, Vedic rituals, like hom, havan, yajna, yaga, japa, tapa. With such Vedic rituals, with some desire in the mind, when you perform crores and crores and crores of such rituals, it will help you to clear your mind in the chitta shuddhi. It will help you to purify your chitta, mano shuddhi, chitta shuddhi, purity of the mind. It will help your mind to become more and more dominated by sattva guna. Mind may become more and more sattvic. You become more and more sattva-guni in life. And accumulation of punya by such homa, havana, yaga. Because why? You have some desire inside. With a desire you are doing it. Unspoken desire. Let it be good. Let it bring something good to my family. Let it bring something good to me. Let all the so-called body ailments and the diseases, let they go away by performing such yajnas, some dosha parihara. Some astrologer has said, you do this, you do that, so that you will be all right. So with such intention, when I do some homa havana, will it lead to jnana? Acharya says, no. Never. Again, same point. Again, same point. How our Gurudev was very, he was very fond of small phrases of Bhagavad Gita. Everything was in his tips, In the last 20 years of my association, I would say I'm fortunate. Every now, here and then, he used to suddenly take up one small phrase, one line of Bhagavad Gita, so that he will never explain that further. Only you have to know what he meant. One such line here, I remember now, connected to this sloka. He used to say, Traigunya Vishayo Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. That's all one line, one charana. Next line he never used to say. Understood? If you go to Bhagavad Gita, you will come to know. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. He used to say that. That is connected to this sloka here. See? Lord says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, look Arjuna, 90% of all the four Vedas put together, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, 90% of that come under what we call Karmakanda. Karmakanda. Those who are only interested in that, they are called Karmakandis. They are called also, as our Gurudev used to say, Kamakamis. What is that Karmakanda? It deals with all the rituals, all types of rituals, hundreds and hundreds of rituals. By performing those rituals, what happens? Those karmas, they are connected only with your worldly life, your worldly pleasures, removing your grief and sorrow in this life, and also to give you some heaven after the death. They are only connected with that. So the Karmakanda deals with all worldly matters. Your entire life, this entire creation is made up of three gunas. Sattva, Raja, Tama. It is the interplay of these three gunas called Maya, how the world has come into existence. So our life is completely under the influence of the three gunas, Sattva, Raja, Tama. So 90% of Vedas speak about those three gunas. Ultimately, Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Rituals. So look Arjuna, don't fall a prey to 90% of what is said in Veda, Karmakanda. Don't fall a prey. Otherwise, you will end up doing every day a homa. You will end up doing some tantric puja to defeat your opponent. Most of the Atharvaveda prayogas called Abhisarika prayogas, Tantra prayogas, they are left-hand path prayogas as we call, Vamachara as it is called, Kaulamarga as it is called, Tantric rituals as they are called. They are all in Atharvaveda. They are meant for what? To kill your opponent, to bring down your opponent, for you to get victory over your opponent. It's all only that only, Tamasa. So Lord says, don't be fooled away by these three interplay of gunas. Vedas are mainly concerned with the interplay of the three gunas. So you be away from that, Arjuna. Traigunyo, three. Traigunyo Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Arjuna, you become totally aware of the trap here. Don't fall a prey to the Karmakanda, these rituals. Get away from this. It is meant for normal worldly people who want to live and enjoy. It is meant for them. It is not meant for jnanasus, not meant for jnanis, not meant for spiritual aspirants at all. See, very clear. Acharya himself says, don't fall a prey to your Vedic rituals. Vedic rituals are good. Krishna doesn't deny that. Acharya doesn't deny that. Vedic rituals are good, but how? When you do it selflessly. When you do it, offering everything yourself as a sacrifice to God. If all the Vedic rituals you perform, do it with Ishvara Samarpana Bhava, our Guru used to say. ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕರ್ಮವನ್ನ ವೇದೋಕ್ತವಾದ ಕರ್ಮವನ್ನ ಹೋಮ ಹವನ ಯಜ್ಞ ಯಾಗ ತಪಸ್ಸು ಇವುಗಳನ್ನ ಕೇವಲ ಈಶ್ವರ ಅರ್ಪಣಾ ಭಾವದಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Even Acharya Adishankara has mentioned at several places. Only Ishvara Prityartham do your karmas. Acharya Bhagavad Pada has mentioned in his commentaries on Sutra Bhashya and Bhagavad Gita, so many, and Upanishad Bhashya, so many places, same thing. Do your karma as with only Ishvara Prityartham, for the sake, for the love, for the devotion of the God, sincerely offer yourself, offer all your karmas to him, and do the karma sincerely, do your work sincerely. It is not escaping from work. By sitting in a corner, if you chant mantra, mango fruit will not fall on your lap from the tree. That's what Acharya also says here. There is no end in going deeper and deeper and deeper into the Vedanta, what Acharya is exposing to his disciples here. We are at the surface level swimming. We have to dive deep and deep and deep actually into this. Please remember, 1200 years before, this Viveka Chudamani was taught by Acharya to his disciples. All real jnanasus and qualified disciples. They were all real adhikaris to listen at sitting at the feet of Acharya Bhagavad Pada with all sincerity and humility. They were really qualified, real adhikaris with all the qualifications, with all their earnestness. They sat at the feet of the Guru, Acharya Shankara Bhagavad Pada. And what he imparted, that knowledge of jnana, this is the ocean of jnana, that by the grace of our Guru, by the grace of the Guru Parampara, we are all enjoying today. Our Gurudev was telling in 2012, when he was sitting by the side, I was sitting on the floor and doing this discourse. He told me once very clearly, before the beginning of the discourse itself, look, all the Guru Parampara, the entire Guru Parampara, all the Rishis are here watching and enjoying. They are pleased to listen to this Vyakhana. Because 100 times you tell, nobody gets satisfied. That is the speciality of Viveka Chudamani. And I bow my head to all the Gurus, entire Guru Parampara and my Guru Bandhus. For all of us, we are sitting here today and trying to know what Bhagavad Pada said 1200 years before. So with Guru's grace, I will stop here and chant Ramanama. After chanting, please unmute. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama 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 Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya. Gurudeva Datta. You can now unmute and then we'll spend some time for some small, short discussion, short questions, whatever. Yeah.
Please unmute yourself before anyone wants to speak. Please feel free.
ಯಾರಾದರೂ anything is there?
Please unmute yourself.
ನೀವು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Sir, there is a question. The question is, who is a true Shrotri? From
Baxter 100% that.
Any problem?
there is a question.
Yeah, I can answer.
Question
Now,
is, who is a true Shrotri?
yeah. Now my voice is coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Baxter 100% that.
Okay. Who is a Shrotri? Shrotriya is the correct terminology. See, in Vedanta, right in the Upanishads, the Jnana Kanda.
Yeah, I can answer. Question is, who is a true Shrotri?
Yeah. Now my voice is coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, we can.
There is this problem. Synchronization. Okay. Now I'm clear. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. You are.
Okay. See, right in Upanishads themselves, in a Jnana Kanda of Vedas, as we call the end of Veda, another word used is Vedanta. See, we cannot go into the deep here because this is being a short duration of question answer. I can only give whatever know in a brief way. Since it is already there in Upanishads and then all Mahatmans have watched for that, Shrotri word actually means Shrotriya. Shrotriya is the correct terminology for such an eminent soul, a realized soul who has understood and learnt at the feet of his master, his guru, directly by Shravana, by listening the Upanishads and the secrets of Upanishads from his guru. All the Upanishads, 10 important Upanishads are there for which Shankaracharya has given Bhashya. Though there are 148 Upanishads listed so far now, 10 are most important. So, at least out of the 10, majority of the Upanishads, if the Bhashya, the content of the Upanishad, if it is given to the Shishya directly by the Guru on one-to-one basis, that is called Shravana by Shishya. So Shishya is listening from the Guru. Guru is speaking the Upanishad secrets. So such a person who listens and understands at the feet of the Guru the secrets of Upanishads are Shrotriya, because Upanishads are
Harsha, Param Shaya.
Upanishads are called by a common word Shruti because they are Apaurushaya. They have come directly from God Himself, from His breath as it is called. So anything Shruti means Upanishads. Anything it is imparted directly to a disciple, the disciple becomes Shrotriya later. And the Guru is already a Shrotriya because the Guru has learnt by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, the same thing from his Guru. From his Guru. So the entire Guru Parampara is there. So where the Upanishads are being taught systematically, that Parampara becomes Shrotriya Parampara. For example, our Gurudev learned Upanishads at the feet of his master, Guru, Swami Vidyananda Saraswati. Swami Vidyananda Saraswati learned the Upanishads at the feet of Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal of Sringeri and Shivananda Saraswati of Rishikesh. So they are called Shrotriyas. I think I have made it clear.
Sir, one more question. Karthik ji asked from on the chat here. He asked, what happens if a devotee is not instructed in Upanishads by his Guru? General directions and sadhana advice. Is that or such a devotee at an advantage, at a disadvantage?
Yeah, the question is not a new question. Not a new question at all. It's a very old question, but very sincere question, very important question. In the annals of the spiritual history of our country, if anybody is kind enough, with patience, go through at least the main events in the life history of Mahatmas, it is very clear, very, very clear that knowledge of Upanishads or Shrutis are of paramount importance, without which Brahmajnana cannot be obtained. This point is nowhere. This point is nowhere there. No doubt, Shruti means Upanishad, the teaching from a guru to his disciple occurs, but it doesn't mean that if I don't have the Upanishad knowledge from my guru for whatever reasons, then am I not eligible from Brahmajnana? For that question, the answer is no. We are eligible because there are hundreds of cases in our Indian history, hundreds of cases, not one or two. If you go into the Upanishad itself, I'll give you two examples, sir. Two examples. It is in Upanishads only. One is the story of Dharmavyada. I'm making very brief. I can't go into details. Story of Dharmavyada, who is a meat seller. He is a butcherer. He used to bring the meat, cut them into pieces and sell to the public. So Dharmavyada, his name, he is a meat seller. By birth also, by his profession also, belonged to the lowest stratum of the society. Correct, sir? Dharmavyada, obba ಮಾಂಸವನ್ನು ಮಾರೋ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅಕ್ಷರ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ. Not even educated. But he is a great Brahmajnani. It is there in Upanishad. Another example I'll give you. There is a bullock cart owner who used to use his cart to load and unload things for the sake of money. Illiterate, he is also a bullock cart puller. His name Raikwa. Raikwa, his name. ಎತ್ತಿನ ಬಂಡಿ ಎಳೆಯೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಅನಕ್ಷರಸ್ಥ ಇದ್ದ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಪಾಡಿಗೆ, ಅವನ ಹೆಸರು ರೈಕ್ವ. See, that bullock cart puller was a Brahmajnani, great Brahmajnani. These two examples are sufficient. They are in the Upanishads only. So, to possess Brahmajnana, athwa to be adhikari towards Brahmajnana, there is no rule whatsoever that you must know Upanishads. No. I think I have made, yes. I think I have made myself little clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Kailash ji?
No more questions online, sir.
Okay, fine. And you can also, I have requested repeatedly that if they have some questions, they can post it in the group or they can post it to you. I think you can sort out because I don't have anything to do from my side, sir.
ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿಕೊಡಿ.
Or to Mr. Shanai.
Yes.
I will go to that. And then before beginning of the next session, normally, we can take up such questions and answer in general.
Yes.
See, today I took one question. Why human birth is so important? Somebody had asked me later in the last 3-4 days. I had noted down.
It's a beautiful question. Well answered, sir.
See, small questions always are important, sir. You think we knew everything ourselves? No. only it is Guru's grace, nothing else. That's why some people also, they were vehemently opposing when I said, I don't know anything. Why do you say like that? You don't know anything. It's horrible. You are degrading yourself. All these things came to me, my close people. With that affection, they were scolding me. They didn't catch the point. And I said, I don't know anything. Even now, I stand by that because what all is there, only Guru's grace. Not that I have read in my lifetime till I met my Guru. I didn't even read Bhagavad Gita till I met my Guru. I didn't even touch this Viveka Chudamani in my lifetime when in 2012 our Gurudev told me you do the discourse on Vivek Chudamani. Please imagine. I went to the bookshop, brought the book in English, translated, of Acharya Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigala Vyakhyana in English. First time I read that. See, so that is how I say I don't know anything. In the sense, what is there here, it is not me talking at all, sir. When I sit here, remembering Gurudev, whatever he makes me to talk, I will talk. That's all. Thank you, sir.
It is all our the divine grace upon all of us. We are so happy to have you and
No, it is a wonderful opportunity. Our Gurudev used to call, this is the real satsanga, he used to say. He used to say, in the absence of me, when you people sit together and think of God and think of Vedanta, that is real satsanga. He has blessed it. He literally, for the satisfaction of the other bandhus, he said like that. But we know very well that he is always present. He is ever present, omnipresent. So there is no question at all. Thank you, sir. Hari Om, sir. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Will you call it? Right. Nothing.